I'm not a big fan of those resumes like we need a full stack developer, and literally it's 20 to 30 skills that frankly not Superman could be able to fulfill. Welcome everybody to another episode of Real Agile or BS. I'm Peter with my wonderful colleague Bob Hartman from Agile for All. We love answering all of your Agile and Scrum and software development, project development questions. And we have one today that's around teams and maybe even team formation if we get into that topic. But the question today is Real Agile or BS? 10 plus people teams. Is this Real Agile or is this BS? Bob, I'll hand it over to you first.
Well, Peter, I think it depends on what you're considering real agile. So Scrum, the Scrum guide said, for a long time, it said 7 plus or minus 2, and then it said 3 to 9. And now it says teams are, including product owner, Scrum Master, are generally 10 or less. So I think the guidance is a little squishy, but in reality, smaller teams achieve more. And you probably are aware of the studies that have been done on optimum team size in the software world. I don't know how you achieve it because it appears to be 5.5 people, but somewhere between 5 and 6 is optimal size. And I have some personal experience with that. I had a team of 12. They were performing at a particular level. We split them into 2 teams of 6, dramatically greater productivity and effectiveness. So I think it could be agile for a 10 plus person development team, but it's not very smart. That's my opinion. How about you, Peter?
I have to completely agree. And we were actually just talking about this before we hit the record button, and it's rising up in my gut, and I might as well just be radically transparent. So with my client right now, which is a startup, I've actually just onboarded an 11-person team from Poland, and we immediately have found out within the first couple of weeks that we need to make it smaller. So as much as I know that it's better practice to have small teams, sometimes you just have to kind of see how it works out and be agile as opposed to just doing agile, and be agile and say, hey, look, it's far too large. We need to break this out by aptitudes and tactical initiatives. And we split this team of 11 in, we're splitting this team of 11 into essentially 6 and 5. And I kind of knew that it was going to happen, Bob, but at the same time, I wanted to figure out whether this could fully work. Because I think it's important, and I think it's part of the Agile kind of philosophy of sorts, that's still worth experimenting on. And so you already gave a little bit of guidance, right? The Scrum guide's a little fuzzy, 10 plus or minus, whatever. Yeah, we probably want to have smaller teams, but I think it's important to always experiment. And if you have the ability to experiment within your company, within your teams, and within your department. And so I kind of look at this as an experiment. We experimented onboarding 11 teams. Within 2 weeks, we were like, far too large. We need to split it up so that they can move faster, they can collaborate quicker, and they have less inbound, which is a big deal because especially since we're doing everything remote, in Slack, each developer is getting 9 different inbounds from 9 different people all the time. And it can create some confusion, especially when you're onboarding and you're starting a new project. So would I say 10 plus teams are not real agile? I would say experiment with it, but you're probably going to find out at the end of the day that smaller teams are far more agile. They can collaborate more effectively. They can move quicker. They can gel, right? The storming, norming, performing, right? They can gel quicker, and they can share information faster. So it's just a win overall from a pragmatic standpoint. Any last words from you?
Yeah, Peter, I have a question for you. So many of my clients say, we've got this big project. We need 25 people with 25 different skill sets to deliver this thing. What do you do?
Great question. Well, the first 2 areas that we looked at in terms of my example that I just gave right now, is we looked at technical ability and tactical functions. Meaning, what are the, let's say there's 20 people, right? We have a pool of 20 people. What are their technical abilities? Well, some focus on DBA or architect or design or front end or middle tier or back end, or we need to have a census and understand where are their skill sets. Number 2, we need to be able to match those skill sets tactically to the right capabilities that the company needs to build the right features or functions for a product. So those are the 2 first filters that I look at: is who do we have on the ship, and how can we divvy those up so that we can deliver, and this is key, a full unit of value with that team. And so there's a lot of conversations that need to be had with the leadership around team formation and ensuring that we have the right technical and tactical and functional roles so that that team can be a full unit, so they can deliver a full unit of value. And if they can't, then we need to have those conversations with the leadership and management and even the product owner to say, hey, if you're going to be delivering this product, we want to ensure that you have the right team to be able to deliver it. Let me throw it back at you. What are some of the things that you think about when it comes to divvying up a large team into smaller teams?
Well, I go back to something the Standish Group wrote in one of the chaos reports a few years ago. They said, in every large project, there are dozens of smaller projects dying to get out. So how do we make those smaller projects use smaller teams, right? Because being agile says this isn't one big gigantic project. How do we break it down into chunks anyway? So if we're going to break it down into chunks, we should be able to break our team into chunks. And so I agree with you. We try to align those skill sets with those chunks. So particular types of skills can work together. Other types of skills can work together. It's rare. I'm not aware of any project that I've ever seen where you needed 20 different skills to do every part of the project. It was like, you need 5 skills for this part and 10 skills for this part and 9 skills for this part, but you don't need 20 skills to build one piece of functionality. That just is, that would be incredibly rare.
I'm gonna cut you off right there. I mean, we're actively hiring for my client right now, the startup that I'm working with. Are you saying that 20 different skills isn't just called a full stack developer? Because when we're looking for full stack developer, there's about 20 skills on there. So I just want to throw that out there because I'm not a big fan of those resumes. Like, we need a full stack developer, and literally it's 20 to 30 skills that, frankly, not Superman could be able to fulfill. So I just wanted to.
Well, either it's not Superman, or they've got 20 different skills where they got a certificate online for filling out a form or something. It's kind of crazy what you can get a certificate for these days.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, guys, I think Bob and I are in relative agreement in here when it comes to 10+ person teams. Probably not real agile, but you guys will have to figure it out and experiment and have those conversations around how to split up the teams effectively. Now, we have a great site for that. If you didn't know, you can go to agileforall.com, check out our community forum site, and leave us a post. Let us know if you see things differently. Certainly, there's many people out there with different experiences and different opinions. We'd love to know. So guys, thanks so much for joining us in this episode of Real Agile or BS. Subscribe, smash the like button, and we'll see you in the next one.